Rain ticks on my windshield like someone tapping a nail into wood, steady, patient, unforgiving. My fingers are locked around the steering wheel so hard my knuckles sting. The leather squeaks when I shift, a tiny sound that feels too loud in the dark. Across the street, my old house glows warm. Yellow kitchen light. Curtains half open like it's showing off. My phone buzzes in my lap. One sharp vibration, then another. I flinch anyway, like my body still expects impact. Violation, the screen says. You're blocked from school pickup. Again. The custody app's little lock icon sits there, smug and clean. My throat tightens so fast I swallow air. It burns going down. I stare at the house until my eyes ache. Through the window, I catch movement. Small bodies, familiar silhouettes. My kids, their heads thrown back in laughter. For half a second, my chest lifts, instinctive, like I'm about to open the door and walk in and say, "Hey, babies," like this is still mine. Then I see him, Caleb, leaning on the counter, relaxed, wearing that calm face he saves for witnesses. And beside him, a woman. Not me. Not anyone I know. She crosses the room and the light hits her, soft fabric draped around her shoulders. My robe, the one with the frayed sleeve I used to hide my hands in when I was cold. The one that still smells like lavender in my memory. My stomach twists, hot and sour. Bile creeps up the back of my throat, and I press my tongue hard against my teeth to keep it down. My phone buzzes again. Not the app this time, an old email account, one I haven't opened in... I don't even know. The notification banner slides down like a blade. Forwarded, strategy for custody timeline. My pulse stutters, stops, then slams back into motion so hard my ears throb. I tap it with a shaking thumb. Subject. Phase 3, make her look unstable. The words sit there, neat and typed, like they don't weigh anything, like they aren't a hand closing around my neck. My mouth goes dry. My skin prickles under my sweater. I whisper it into the dark, to the fogged glass, to my own reflection. You planned this! My thumb hits download. A pair of headlights sweeps over my car, white light washing the inside, exposing me like I'm caught doing something wrong, and my whole body goes rigid, breath trapped high in my chest. The headlights slide past. The light fades. My lungs remember how to work again. One thin breath, then another, both of them shaking like they don't trust me. I'm not some stranger sitting in the rain for fun. I'm 31, 2 kids, a divorce stamped and sealed like a verdict on my forehead. I live in a rental so small the hallway feels like it apologizes when you walk through it. The couch is secondhand, the fabric pilled and tired, and one of the legs is shimmed with folded cardboard because I can't afford a new anything. My kitchen table came from my aunt's garage. It still smells faintly like dust and old perfume when the heater kicks on. And every day, I wake up and do the math of survival before I do anything else. He didn't take me down with fists. He did it with forms, with deadlines, with polite little messages written like prayers. He moved pieces on a board while I was still bleeding shock into my pillow at night, trying not to let the kids hear. That's what guts me, the precision. How did he always know where I'd go next? How did he get there first, smiling with witnesses, with a story already typed and ready to hand over? It's like every door in my life had been locked from the inside, days before I ever touched the handle. My phone screen glows in my lap. The download bar creeps forward, slow as a bruise blooming. I stare at it until my eyes sting. I didn't win by yelling. I didn't win by begging. I won by shutting my mouth when my throat wanted to scream, by listening harder than my pride could stand, by saving every receipt and screenshot and timestamp like they were breadcrumbs back to my children. If you've ever been painted as too much just for fighting for your kids, subscribe. And if you're watching right now, tell me where you are. City and time, just so it doesn't feel like I'm the only one sitting in the dark with my hands shaking. The download completes. My thumb taps the file. And the sender name loads on the screen. Not Caleb, not even close. My stomach drops so hard it feels like the seatbelt is the only thing keeping me from falling straight through the floor of the car. The sender name sits on my screen like a mouthful of metal. My tongue goes numb. I don't open it yet. I can't. Not with my hands shaking like this. Not with the rain in the house and my kids' laughter still drilling into my ribs. I lock my phone and press it face down on my thigh. Like that can stop the world from moving. I blink at the windshield. My breath fogs it in uneven patches, and the first thing my mind does, because it's cruel like that, is drag me back to the beginning. back when ahead felt like a compliment. Caleb used to call himself a planner. He'd say it with this soft smile, like he was confessing a harmless flaw. He liked clean lines, color-coded folders, neat stacks of mail, a calendar on the fridge with our life boxed into tidy little squares. I thought it meant safety. When we met, he'd open doors for me. Not performative, just natural. He remembered my coffee order after 2 dates. He'd text, "Made it home," and I'd feel something in my chest loosen. Like being cared for was a new language my body was learning to trust. We got married fast. People said that, like a warning, but it didn't feel fast to me. It felt obvious. The first year, we were a team. We did dumb things like dance in the kitchen in sock feet, slipping and laughing so hard my stomach hurt. He'd wrap his arms around me from behind when I cooked and kiss my neck, murmuring, "You're it for me." Like it was a secret he was only telling the air and my skin. When I got pregnant with our first, he cried. Real tears. I watched them drop onto his hand and I remember thinking, this is a good man. This is a man who feels things. Our oldest, Maya, came out serious. Like she entered the world already studying it. Big eyes, quiet. She'd stare up at me while I fed her, and sometimes she'd lift a tiny hand and press her palm to my chest as if checking that I was still there. Then came Noah 2 years later, all elbows and noise and unstoppable energy. He didn't walk so much as charge. He laughed with his whole body. When he cried, it was loud and immediate. And when he stopped, it was like a switch flipped. Back to joy, back to wanting a snack, back to climbing something he shouldn't. 2 kids, 2 different storms. After Noah was born, my life shrank to the size of needs. Wipes, bottles, laundry, the constant low-grade panic of keeping tiny humans alive. I'd sleep in pieces. My brain always half awake, tuned to the smallest sound. Caleb started saying, "I've got it." Not the baby, the money. He'd kiss the top of my head and say, "Just focus on the kids. I'll handle the finances. You've got enough on your plate." And it sounded like love. It sounded like relief. So I cut my hours. Part-time became for now. For now became months. Months became years. My world became drop-offs and pickups and pediatric appointments and meal planning and sticky hands and little shoes that vanished like they were eaten by the house itself. Caleb loved telling people I was a full-time mom. He'd say it at parties, one arm draped around my shoulder, his voice proud and calm. "Nadia runs the home," he'd say, like I was a small business he'd invested in. People would smile at me, admiring, envious even. And I would smile back, even though my back ached and my hair was always in a rush knot, and I felt like I was disappearing in slow motion. He was so good at looking supportive. He was also good at looking patient. If I forgot something, permission slip, snack day, library book, he wouldn't yell. That was the thing. He wouldn't raise his voice. He'd just sigh. A soft, disappointed sound, like I'd let him down in a way he'd expected. He'd tilt his head and say, "Babe, we have to be more organized." We. But it always meant me. The first time I noticed the shift, we were in the kitchen. Maya was 5, Noah was 3. The house smelled like spaghetti and dish soap, and the faint sourness of wet towels left too long in a heap. I was rummaging through a drawer for a pen, and I pulled out a little notebook I didn't recognize. Black cover, elastic strap. It fell open in my hand. Dates, times, notes. At first I thought it was for work. Then I saw my name. Monday, Nadia late to pick up, 7 minutes. Wednesday, Nadia forgot snack for Noah. Friday, Nadia cried in car after Maya's recital. My throat went tight. I flipped pages. Argument about budget. Nadia irrational. Kitchen messy when Gail visited. Nadia raised voice. Kids present. Nadia forgot to pay water bill. Reminder sent. I remember the sensation like cold water poured down my spine. The room didn't change, but it felt like it did. Like the air got sharper. Like the walls leaned in. I turned, notebook shaking in my hands. Caleb was at the counter, wiping it down, slow, precise circles. Like cleanliness was a religion. "What is this?" My voice came out thin. He didn't even look startled. He glanced at the notebook like it was nothing. Like it was a grocery list. "It's just a family calendar," he said, calm, casual. "So we can keep track." "Keep track of what?" My mouth tasted like pennies. He finally looked at me then. His eyes were steady, soft, almost pitying. "Patterns," he said, "so we can improve." Improve. As if I was a problem to manage. I felt heat crawl up my neck. My hands went damp. You're writing down when I cry? His expression didn't change. That's the part that still makes my skin prickle. No shame, no apology. It helps to be factual, he said. You get emotional, Nadia. Sometimes you don't remember things accurately. My heart thudded so hard it hurt. I remember my own life. He sighed again. That gentle sigh. This is exactly what I mean. He reached for the notebook, and I jerked it back like it had teeth. Why is Gail in here? I asked, flipping to a page where her name appeared again and again. Gail concerned about kids' routine. Gail noticed Nadia overwhelmed. Gail offered to help. Nadia refused. Caleb's mouth twitched, almost a smile, but not warm. She's family, he said. She notices things. I should have seen it then. The way his calm wasn't calm, it was control. The way his organization wasn't helpful. It was a weapon he was sharpening. But I was tired. God, I was so tired. I wanted my life back to normal. I wanted to believe it was a misunderstanding. So I did what I always did. I swallowed it. I said, okay, even though my stomach churned. I tried harder. I set alarms. I wrote notes. I folded my feelings into smaller and smaller squares until I could barely breathe. And Caleb kept watching. Quietly. Gail, too. Gail had always been sweet. The kind of sweet that sticks to your teeth. She'd call me honey and bring over muffins and then glance around my living room like she was assessing structural damage. Oh, you must be exhausted, she'd say, eyes on the laundry basket. 2 kids is a lot for someone like you. Someone like me. I never knew what that meant. Not exactly, but I felt it, like a label pressed to my forehead that I couldn't peel off. My best friend Tessa used to laugh it off. She's just intense, she'd whisper when Gail walked away. Tessa is warm and loyal and terrified of confrontation, the kind of person who will hold your hand through the storm but won't shout into the wind with you. I needed her to shout. I didn't know that yet. The day the divorce became real didn't happen in private. Of course it didn't. It happened at the school. I can still feel the sun on my arms, that too bright midday glare bouncing off the windows. I was standing near the office with Noah's little jacket folded over my arm, waiting for him to be released early for a doctor appointment. Maya was with me, clutching my fingers, her palms sweaty. She'd been quiet all morning, like she sensed something in my chest shifting. The office door opened. A man I didn't recognize stepped in, scanned the room, and said my name out loud like he was calling me for a prize. Nadia? Every head turned. Moms, dads, teachers, the receptionist. I felt eyes land on me like thrown stones. I raised my hand automatically, reflexive politeness. Yes? He handed me an envelope. Thick. Official. You've been served, he said. The words didn't make sense at first. Served like dinner? Served like punished? Maya squeezed my hand tighter. Mom? I stared at the envelope, my name printed cleanly. Address. Court header. My throat closed. I couldn't swallow. The room tilted just slightly like I was standing on a boat. I looked up, and through the glass doors, I saw Caleb's car parked across the street. Not close. Not visible enough to be obvious. But there. Like he wanted to watch the moment I broke. I opened the envelope with fingers that wouldn't cooperate. Paper slid out, pages and pages, custody, assets, allegations. My face went hot, then cold, my ears rang. The hallway noise faded into a dull roar, like being underwater. The receptionist asked if I was okay. Her voice sounded far away. I couldn't answer. Maya's eyes filled. Are we in trouble? I wanted to say no. I wanted to wrap her up and promise her safety like a blanket. But my mouth was full of ash. When I got back to my car, I sat behind the wheel and couldn't turn the key. My hands trembled too hard. I stared at the steering column like it was written in another language. My phone buzzed with a message from Caleb. We need to keep this civil, for the kids, civil. My laugh came out strangled, sharp, and then it turned into a sob I didn't recognize. The kind that yanks itself up from somewhere animal. Tessa came over that night. She brought takeout and sat with me on the second-hand couch, her knee touching mine. She kept saying, "This can't be real," like disbelief was a prayer. I didn't sleep. The next week was a blur of deadlines and forms, and Caleb's calm voice on speakerphone saying things like, "I'm just trying to establish stability." Stability. Like I was chaos by default. He filed for temporary orders fast, so fast it felt like he'd been waiting with his finger hovering over a button. I got the notice and had barely enough time to find childcare. Barely enough time to gather paperwork, barely enough time to stop shaking. Court smelled like old carpet and coffee breath, and cold air blown too hard through vents. The AC was brutal. My arms prickled with goosebumps under my cheap cardigan. I held my folder to my chest like a shield, but the papers inside were soft from sweat, edges curling. Caleb walked in wearing a suit that fit him like it was grown there. Crisp, dark, clean lines. He looked composed, like a man who slept 8 hours and drank water and never cried in a car. He nodded at people, smiled, shook hands. When he saw me, his expression softened. Public softness. Concern. The face of a man carrying a difficult burden with grace. I wanted to scream. Instead, I sat there, throat raw, stomach empty, trying to keep my breathing quiet. His lawyer spoke like a lullaby. Smooth phrases, concerned tone, they called me reactive. Financially irresponsible. Unable to co-parent. They said I was unstable, like it was an objective fact, like it was in my DNA. I wanted to stand up and say, I am tired. I am scared. I am human. But the words stuck, because every time I opened my mouth, I could feel the invisible pen hovering, ready to write. Nadia emotional. Nadia raised voice. Nadia irrational. I stared at Caleb's hands, calm hands, folded neatly. Then, while the judge spoke, Caleb leaned slightly toward his lawyer. His lips moved. Not loud enough for anyone else. But I saw it. Thank you, he mouthed. Like he was accepting an award, and my blood went cold in a way that didn't feel like fear anymore. It felt like recognition. I don't remember walking out of the courthouse. I remember the cold, the way it sat in my bones like it paid rent there. I remember my paperwork, my whole life reduced to thin sheets, softening in my sweaty hands until the ink threatened to smear. I remember Caleb's suit disappearing into a knot of people who smiled at him like he'd done something brave. And then I remember the first night in the new place. It's not even an apartment. It's a box with plumbing, the kind of place where you can hear your neighbor sneeze and you say, bless you, under your breath, out of habit. Then realize you don't know their name. The air smells like old cooking oil trapped in the walls. The bathroom light flickers, like it can't commit to existing. The kids' rooms are corners. Maya gets the corner by the window because she needs quiet, and because she's old enough to notice the difference between a bedroom and a patch of carpet with a borrowed nightstand. Noah gets the corner closer to me because he still wakes up sometimes, crying out like he's falling. I stack their clothes in plastic drawers that don't slide right. I line up their little shoes under the one wobbly bench by the door, pretending it's a routine and not a performance. When they're not here, the corners look haunted. Empty blanket, empty pillow, the imprint of small bodies on a mattress that isn't mine. I sit on my couch, the second-hand one with the sagging middle, and I swear I can still smell them. Shampoo and crayons and the faint sweetness of apple juice spilled and wiped up too late. My phone sits beside me like a live wire. The custody app is bright and cheerful, like it was designed by someone who's never had their heart cut into pieces by a schedule update. It uses friendly fonts, friendly colors, like the words it delivers aren't poison. Pickup location modified. Visit time adjusted. Message archived. Archived. That's the word that makes my teeth grind. Archived like my voice is something to store away, like my pleading can be filed and forgotten. The first time I tried to message Caleb through it, my hands shook so hard I mistyped his name. I stared at the screen, erased it, typed again. Can you please send Noah's inhaler? He left it in your car last time. I hit send. Minutes later, a reply appeared. Noted, please refer to the parenting plan. He has his medication. He didn't. I found out at midnight when Noah woke up wheezing, his breath thin and whistling, his cheeks flushed. My whole body went cold, hot, cold as I sat him upright, listening to the tightness in his chest like it was a clock counting down. I tore through my bag, the drawers, the kitchen counter, like it could appear if I looked hard enough. My fingers were clumsy, my nails caught on fabric, my scalp prickled with sweat. No inhaler. I called Caleb straight to voicemail. I called again. Again. Finally, he answered, voice thick with sleep, or pretending to be. What? He said, like I was an inconvenience, like my child's lungs were an interruption. You forgot his inhaler, I whispered, because my voice didn't want to wake Maya, and because some part of me still believed in being reasonable. He's wheezing. I need you to tell me where it is. A pause. A slow breath. I didn't forget anything, Caleb said, calm. It was in his backpack. It's not, I said, and the word came out sharp, cracking at the edge. Please. There you go, he murmured, and I could hear it in his tone, that almost sad patience. The one that makes people think he's the victim. This is what I mean, Nadia. You get worked up. I looked down at Noah's face. His eyes were wide, wet. He was trying so hard not to cry, trying to be brave the way little boys do when they're scared. My throat burned. He can't breathe, I said, and I hated how thin my voice sounded. This isn't about me being worked up, Caleb sighed, that gentle, disappointed sigh like a stamp on a document. Do what you need to do, he said. But don't call me with accusations. The line went dead. My hands went numb. For a second, I couldn't move. I just stared at my phone like it was a betrayal with a screen. Then adrenaline hit me like a slap. I wrapped Noah in a hoodie and carried him to my car, rain soaking my hair, my clothes clinging cold to my skin. The seatbelt cut across my wrist as I buckled him in too fast. His breathing rasped the whole drive. Every red light felt personal. At urgent care, the receptionist asked for insurance. I gave her the card Caleb insisted I still had access to. She typed, clicked. Her face shifted in that tiny, professional way people do when bad news is coming, but they're trying to keep it polite. I'm sorry, she said. It's not going through. Heat flooded my face. My ears rang. Try again, I said, too fast. She did. Same result. My stomach dropped and stayed there, like I'd stepped off a curb and never found the ground again. I fumbled my debit card out of my wallet, fingers stiff. She swiped it. Declined. A small sound escaped me, half laugh, half gasp, like my body didn't know what emotion to choose. I could feel people behind me. The weight of their presence, their eyes, their impatience. Noah coughed, a tight, ugly sound. My mouth was dry. I can transfer. Give me 1 second. I stepped aside, back pressed to a wall, and opened my banking app with hands that wanted to shake apart. Balance, $14.62. The number looked fake, like a joke someone wrote to see if I'd break. I swallowed hard. My throat hurt. I could taste salt. I called Tessa. She answered on the second ring, voice bright at first, then immediately worried when she heard my breathing. Nadia? The words stuck to my tongue. I hated needing. I hated how it made me feel small. Noah can't breathe. My cards. They're not working. Can you Venmo me? Please. I'll pay you back. Tessa didn't hesitate. Yes, of course. How much? I stared at the urgent care sign like it was taunting me. 200, I whispered. Sending now, she said, and I heard her fingers moving. Breathe. Just breathe. I watched my phone until the notification came through. My whole body trembled with relief so sharp it almost hurt. When I paid, the receptionist smiled like it was nothing, like the humiliation hadn't just carved itself into my ribs. Noah got his treatment. He slept on my chest that night, damp hair stuck to my collarbone, his breath finally soft and even. I didn't sleep at all. I just stared at the ceiling and listened to the building settle and creak, wondering how many ways a person can be trapped without bars. After that, the squeeze got tighter. Support payments were processing, then delayed, then pending clarification. Clarification, as if my rent was a philosophical question. I started counting diapers like coins. Literally. I'd stand in the aisle and do the math in my head, forehead sweating under fluorescent lights. I'd compare prices like it was life or death, because it was. I'd buy off-brand cereal and tell the kids it tasted the same. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. Maya would chew slowly and look at me with those serious eyes like she knew what I was doing. I'd smile too big. Isn't it good? I'd ask. She'd nod. She always nodded. She's my soft girl, my watcher. She carries silence like a backpack. The app kept chirping at me like a bird pecking at a wound. Pickup time modified. 4:30 instead of 3:30. Location modified. School office, not curbside. Request denied. Additional time. I'd rearrange everything. Work shifts, rides, meals. I'd show up early because being late was now a sin that could be weaponized. And still, it wasn't enough. Caleb would arrive with someone, always someone, a man I didn't recognize, a woman in gym clothes, Gail in her pearl earrings and concerned face, people who stood at a distance like they were watching a play. Caleb would speak softly, smile politely, and I could feel my pulse spike because I knew what he was doing. He was building his audience. He'd hold out the kids' bags like he was handing over evidence. Oh, he'd say, loud enough for everyone to hear, I printed the schedule for you, since you've been having trouble. Trouble. The word would slice. I would take the paper, fingers numb. I know the schedule. He'd tilt his head, still calm. Then why did you show up at the wrong time last week? I didn't, I'd say, and my voice would climb because my body hates injustice, the way lungs hate water. You changed it an hour before. He'd glance down at his phone, scrolling, then look up with that soft patience. It was updated in the app, and the witnesses would see what he wanted them to see. Calm man, frantic woman. Gail started posting online. Not about me directly. Never directly. That would be messy. Just things like, some mothers forget that stability matters more than feelings. Protecting the little ones is a full-time job. Grateful for strong fathers who step up. The words would appear on my screen and my stomach would twist, heat and nausea blooming at once. My fingers would hover over the comment box like a reflex. Then I'd picture Caleb's notebook. Nadia emotional, so I'd close the app, heart hammering, and stare at the ceiling until my eyes went dry. Teachers started checking in. Maya's teacher called one afternoon. Her voice was gentle, too gentle. I just wanted to touch base, she said. Maya mentioned she feels worried sometimes. My throat tightened. Worried about what? A pause, paper rustling like she was looking at notes. She said you've been stressed, the teacher said carefully. We just want to make sure everything is stable at home. Stable. The same word, over and over. It echoed like a drumbeat. I'm stressed because I'm fighting for my kids, I said, and immediately I regretted the edge in my voice. The teacher's tone shifted a fraction. Still polite, still kind, but now cautious. Of course, she said. We just want what's best. After I hung up, I sat on the floor of my kitchen, back against the cabinet, and pressed my forehead to my knees. My body shook, silent at first, then harder, like it couldn't hold itself together. Because it wasn't just Caleb anymore. It was the world. The way people leaned toward his story because it was easier, cleaner, neater. The way they looked at me like I was a problem they might catch. Friends stopped calling. Some of them sent one text, thinking of you, then vanished like kindness has a quota. My own family kept saying, just stay calm. As if calm is a lockpick, as if calm can pay rent, as if calm can make a judge unhear a lie. Then she appeared. Lena. I didn't even know her name at first. I saw her in a photo Gail posted. One of those family shots that feels like a knife because it's posed like joy. Maya on the couch. Noah holding up a drawing. Caleb smiling that controlled smile. And behind them, standing near the hallway like she belonged there, was a woman with long hair and my old sweatshirt. My old gray sweatshirt with the paint stain near the cuff. The one I wore when we moved into that house. The one I left behind because it didn't fit in my bag the day I packed like my life was on fire. My skin went cold. My fingers trembled so hard I almost dropped my phone. I zoomed in until the pixels broke apart, until her face blurred, until all I could see was the fabric on her shoulders, like a flag planted in my old life. I messaged Caleb through the app. Who is that woman? Why is she around the kids? His reply came an hour later. Dad's friend, kids are safe. Please refrain from invasive questioning. Invasive. My jaw clenched so hard my molars ached. I tried to get a better lawyer. I called offices and listened to polite voices quote numbers that made my vision swim. Retainer fees, hourly rates, complex custody matters. Complex, like my children are a puzzle. One attorney finally said, you need to be cooperative. Judges don't like conflict. I wanted to ask him if he'd ever tried to breathe while someone quietly pressed a pillow to your face. Cooperative. So I swallowed my rage. Again. I smiled when I wanted to spit. I wrote messages that sounded calm while my hands shook so hard I had to type with 2 thumbs to steady them. And then, one night, sitting at my hand-me-down kitchen table under a flickering light, eating a piece of toast because that's what I could afford, it hit me. The truth slid into place like a key. I'm not losing because I'm wrong. I'm losing because he's early. He isn't smarter than me. He isn't better. He's just been preparing longer. The realization didn't make me feel better. It made me feel sick, because if he's been preparing, then this wasn't a divorce, it was a plan. My phone buzzed again, another notification, another small, controlled sting. I picked it up, thumb hovering. A court notice, a warning. Restraining order requested due to repeated harassment claims. My vision narrowed. The words blurred, then snapped sharp. Harassment. My stomach dropped so hard I tasted bile. My hands went icy. I pressed my palm flat against the table, like I could anchor myself to something solid. My chest felt too tight for my lungs. And in the silence of that tiny kitchen, with the rain tapping the window like it was counting down, one thought rang so loud it drowned everything else. He's going to erase me. The school parking lot smells like hot asphalt and exhaust and someone's cheap vanilla air freshener drifting from a cracked window. The sun is out, bright enough to make everything look clean like the world isn't dirty underneath. I stay in my car, not because I want to, because I have to. My hands grip the steering wheel at 10 and 2 like I'm taking a test. My palms leave damp prints on the worn leather. My knee bounces so hard the whole car trembles with it. A tiny quake I can't control. On the screen of my phone, the custody app sits open, its little cheerful layout like a joke. Exchange protocol, parent remains in vehicle. I read it again, and again. Like the words might change if I stare hard enough. They don't. A few feet away, a staff member stands by the curb, arms folded. Not looking at me exactly. Not wanting to be involved. Like I'm weather. Like I'm a liability. The gate opens, kids spill out in waves, backpacks bobbing, voices loud, life moving forward without asking permission. And then I see them. Maya first. Her hair tucked behind her ear the way I used to do for her every morning. She walks with her shoulders slightly hunched, like she's trying to take up less space. My throat closes around a sound. My chest tightens so hard it feels like my ribs are a cage someone is squeezing. Noah follows, half skipping, then stopping to look at something on the ground, then running to catch up. His shoelace is loose. Of course it is. My fingers twitch in my lap, muscle memory screaming at me to get out, to cross the asphalt, to drop to my knees and tie it the way I've tied it 1,000 times. But I stay, because if I step out of this car, it'll be called harassment. Escalation. Instability. I watch them walk past me like I'm not their mother, like I'm a stranger in a gray sedan with foggy windows. Maya glances toward my car for half a second. Her eyes slide over it, over me, and then away, like looking too long will hurt. My stomach drops. Noah doesn't look at all. My throat burns. I swallow and it feels like swallowing glass. Caleb's car pulls up smooth and steady, right on time. Of course, he's always right on time. He steps out slowly, not rushed, holding his phone in one hand like he's just checking the weather. He smiles at the staff member. A polite nod. The calm dad. Maya and Noah walk to him. They don't run. That's the part that punches me. They don't run to him like they run to me. They approach like they're following instructions. Caleb crouches a little, says something I can't hear, and Noah's face brightens, and I feel something hot rip through my chest. Jealousy, sharp and ugly, shame right behind it. Because what kind of mother feels jealous of her own child smiling? A mother who's been pushed into a corner so long she's starting to grow thorns. Caleb straightens. His gaze flicks toward my car, brief. He doesn't wave. He doesn't need to. He knows I'm watching. He knows it hurts. His mouth curves, just barely, into something that could be interpreted as sympathy. If anyone else saw it, they'd think, look at him, he's trying. My nails dig into my palm until I feel that stingy tenderness of skin giving up. I want to scream. I want to slam my door open and shout their names into the air so everyone turns and sees that I exist, that I am not a ghost, that I am not a non-compliant checkbox. But my fear is smarter than my fury. My fear reminds me of courtrooms and cold air and the way the word reactive sounds when it's said like a diagnosis. So I stay in the car. I watch Caleb buckle them in. He checks Noah's seatbelt carefully like he's on camera, like he's always on camera. Then he drives away, and my body doesn't know what to do with the leftover love. It sits in my throat, heavy and sour, and I press my forehead to the steering wheel and breathe through my nose, because if I open my mouth, I will make a noise I can't take back. By the time I get home, the sky has shifted to late afternoon gold. My apartment looks even smaller in that light, like it's shrinking out of embarrassment. I shut the door behind me, and the silence hits. No tiny footsteps, no cartoons in the background, no "Mom!" yelled from another room like an emergency. Just my own breathing, loud, uneven. My hands shake as I set my purse down. I walk to the corner that's Maya's and touch the edge of her blanket. It's soft, worn. My fingers curl into it like I'm trying to hold on to her through fabric. My eyes sting. I let myself cry for exactly 20 seconds, enough to taste salt, enough to feel my face heat up, then I stop. Not because I'm done, because crying feels like giving him proof. I wipe my cheeks with the sleeve of my sweater. My skin is raw there, tender from the constant wiping that has become my private routine. I move to the closet and pull down the box, the old life box. It's heavier than it should be, Like cardboard can store years and make them weigh more. I set it on the floor and sit cross-legged beside it. The way I used to sit with the kids when we opened birthday gifts. The tape crackles as I pull it apart. The sound is too loud. It makes my shoulders jump. Inside, photographs in a wrinkled envelope. Wedding favors I never handed out because we ran out of time. A dried boutonniere pressed flat like a dead insect. A USB drive labeled in my handwriting, wedding. A dead laptop, hinge broken, screen spidered, a relic, and a small notebook, black cover, elastic strap, the password book. My breath catches in my throat like I've swallowed a hook. I hadn't thought about it in years. We used to share everything, streaming logins, bank sites, the email we made for family stuff. Back when sharing felt like intimacy and not access. I flip it open. The pages smell faintly of old paper and whatever lotion I used back then, something floral that makes my stomach twist with nostalgia. There it is. An old email address. A stupid ancient one I made in college and abandoned once life got too busy. I wrote it down because once upon a time, I was the kind of person who believed the future was long and safe enough to forget things. My fingers hover. My heart kicks. I stand up, grab the dead laptop, and set it on the table like I'm performing an autopsy. I plug it in. The charger takes a second to catch, then the little light flickers on. Please, please. The fan whirs like an old sigh. The screen glows dimly, then brightens, then freezes, then finally, boots. My mouth is dry. I open the browser. My hands are steadier now, not calm but focused, like all the chaos has condensed into one sharp point. I'm trying to apply for better work. That's what I tell myself. That's what I've been telling everyone. I just need a better job. Like money is the only missing piece. I need my old resume, the updated one, the one I emailed myself years ago, before the kids, before the slow drift into dependence. I type the email address, then the password I wrote down. It doesn't work. My stomach twists hard. I try another variation. Capital letter, exclamation point, the old habit. It loads. Inbox. For a second, my vision blurs and I blink hard, like my eyes are trying to protect me from what I might see. The inbox is a graveyard of old newsletters and forgotten promotions, but at the top, highlighted, is something recent. Forwarded. My throat tightens. Subject line, narrative management. Under it, custody timeline. Under that, pressure points. My skin prickles all over, like the air in the room just changed temperature. My fingertips go cold. I click. A chain opens. Multiple emails threaded together, formal, structured, written like business memos. Bullets, headings, attached files. I scroll slowly, like if I move too fast, the truth will jump out and bite me. The sender name sits at the top. Not Caleb, someone else. A name I recognize in the way you recognize a smell from childhood. Faint, familiar, attached to discomfort. Graham, Caleb's family friend, the one who brought wine to barbecues and called me kiddo, even though I'm a grown woman. The one who always asked Caleb about work and barely looked at me. The one who once told me, smiling, "You've got the hardest job of all," like motherhood was a cute little hobby and not my entire life. Graham, the paralegal, the consultant, the man with the clean briefcase and the calm voice, who always seemed to be helping Caleb with some paperwork. My stomach drops as if my organs have decided to relocate. I scroll, I read. And the words don't just hurt. They rearrange reality. Phase 1, establish documentation of instability, one email says, like it's describing a marketing plan. My throat constricts. I can't swallow. Phase 2, recruit neutral witnesses, it says. Teachers respond well to concern framed as routine. I feel heat rise up my neck, crawling like fire under my skin. Ensure financial constraints to support argument of inadequate housing. It continues. Delay discretionary support. Maintain plausible deniability. My vision tunnels. The room feels too bright, too small, like the walls are pressing in. My hands tremble over the trackpad. There are more. Bait reaction. Keep tone calm. Let her escalate. A hard pulse beats behind my eyes. Leverage medical history. Therapy appointments can be framed as emotional volatility. Avoid direct claims. Suggest patterns. My mouth opens, but no sound comes out. I taste bile. I sit back so fast the chair scrapes the floor. The sound shocks me. My heart slams against my ribs like it's trying to escape. My marriage wasn't just failing. It was scheduled. They planned my pain like it was logistics. They turned my exhaustion into evidence, my tears into strategy. my love into a weakness they could measure and exploit. I press my hand to my chest, right over my heart as if I can hold it in place. My palm is damp. I feel like I'm going to throw up. I don't. I breathe through my nose in short, sharp pulls. In, out, in, out. Then something in me changes temperature. The nausea cools into something hard. I lean forward again. If this is a plan, then it has a paper trail. If it has a paper trail, it can bleed. My fingers stop shaking. Not fully, but enough. I start taking screenshots, one after another. My thumb cramps. I don't stop. I open the email headers. I copy them into a document. I save the thread as an offline file. I download attachments. I create a folder on the desktop. Evidence. All caps. I email it to myself. Twice. 2 different accounts. I upload it to a cloud drive I barely use. I rename files with dates like I'm building a spine for the truth. My breathing steadies into something cold and methodical. Every click feels like picking up a piece of myself. Then, near the bottom of the thread, I see it. A line that makes my skin go tight, like the air has turned into wire. Reminder, move bonus account prior to filing. Cleanup transfer scheduled Friday. Friday. The week before, he served me at the school. My mouth goes dry. My tongue sticks to my teeth. I stare at the words until they blur. Bonus account. Cleanup transfer. My heart starts pounding again. But this time it isn't panic, it's a drum, a countdown. Because if they moved money, if they cleaned up, then there's more hiding under the surface. And for the first time in months, the fear in my chest doesn't feel like a cage. It feels like fuel. My kitchen light buzzes faintly, a trapped insect sound that keeps time with my pulse. The air smells like burnt toast and old cardboard from the box still open on the floor. I don't close it. I can't. It feels like closing it would mean pretending I didn't see what I saw. My phone is on the table, face up, bright, accusing. The custody app, the thread, all those neat little messages that used to make me shake. Not anymore. My fingers are steady in a way that scares me. Like my body finally stopped begging and started building. I open the co-parenting app and scroll to the last message I sent Caleb, the one with too many words, too much heart leaking out between the lines. I delete nothing. I don't get to erase the old version of me, but I don't feed him anymore. I start a new message. Not please, not can you, not I'm just trying, just facts. Per the current order, my exchange time is 4:30 p.m. You modified to 5:15 p.m. at 4:07 p.m. I will arrive at 4:25 p.m. and wait until 5:25 p.m. My thumbs hover, then type again. Please confirm you will provide Noah's inhaler and Maya's school folder. Period, period, period. I read it twice, listening for any tremble of emotion hiding in the words. There isn't one. It looks like something a stranger wrote, a clerk, a witness. I press send. My stomach expects the old reaction, the rush, the panic, the urge to soften it with a smiley face or a thank you. My body is trained for appeasement. I don't do it. I open a notebook, clean page, and write a header in block letters. Timeline. The word looks harsh and beautiful. I start pulling everything in, every schedule change, every denied pickup, every late notice, every archived message. Every time a teacher said stable with that cautious voice. Every time Gail posted some soft, syrupy warning that tasted like poison. I write dates, times, screenshots saved, my wrist cramps. I keep going. It's strange how much calmer I feel when I stop trying to convince anyone I'm good and start proving I'm being hunted. I open the email chain again and copy phrases into my timeline. I line them up like bullets, like fingerprints. Recruit neutral witnesses. Bait reaction. Leverage medical history. My stomach turns at that one every time. My throat tightens, a reflexive shame like therapy is something dirty. I press my tongue to my teeth and swallow it down. No, not shame. Not mine. I make a second list. Matching language. I write the teacher's wording, the app complaints, the court filings. I underline the phrases that echo the email memos, like someone's been using the same script. Because they have. Because they thought I'd never see it. My phone rings. A number I don't know. I stare at it until it stops. My skin prickles anyway, like the sound left a mark. I don't want to talk on the phone. Voices can be twisted. Words can be misremembered. I want paper, screenshots, dates. I want something they can't smirk away. The next morning, I go to a legal aid office tucked between a laundromat and a tax prep place. The sign outside is sun-faded, the kind of place you'd miss if you weren't desperate enough to look carefully. Inside, the air smells like old coffee and printer toner. The chairs are plastic. The receptionist's nails tap on the counter like she's impatient with the whole world. I sit and wait, knees bouncing, hands clasped tight to stop them from fidgeting. When they call my name, I stand too fast and the room tilts for a second. My stomach flips. The advisor is a woman with tired eyes and a voice that sounds like she's seen every kind of cruelty and hasn't let any of it make her mean. She listens, really listens. Not the way people listen when they're deciding who to believe. The way people listen when they're collecting facts. I slide my phone across the desk. I show her the emails. Her expression changes in small increments, brows pulling together, mouth flattening, a stillness settling into her shoulders. "This is coordination," she says quietly. The word lands heavy, solid. She teaches me what matters and what doesn't, what to save, how to preserve, how to keep the email headers intact, how to export without altering, how to document without giving them a reason to scream tampered. She tells me to back up originals, keep copies untouched, screenshot and save, but don't rely on screenshots alone. She tells me to write messages like they'll be read aloud. I nod until my neck aches, because I already know that part. I've been living in a courtroom in my head for months. On my way out, I stop in my car and breathe until my hands stop shaking. My palms are sweaty on the steering wheel, my mouth tastes like adrenaline. Then I call someone I haven't spoken to in years. Janelle. We worked together before I scaled back. She was in compliance, auditing, policies, trails. She used to say, "If it wasn't documented, it didn't happen," with this half smile like it was a joke. It wasn't. She answers, and her voice is the same, sharp, awake, like she's always 2 steps ahead. I tell her the shortest version I can, because if I say too much, I'll cry. And I can't cry. Not on the phone, not where my voice can crack and betray me. Janelle goes quiet, and she says, "Send it." 2 words. No pity, no softness, just action. When I meet her after work at a diner, the booth vinyl sticks to the back of my legs. The air smells like fries and syrup and exhaustion. She sips coffee like it's fuel. She looks at the emails, the headers, the dates. Her eyes narrow, scanning like a machine. "See this?" she says, tapping a line with her nail. "This is a trail." Trail, another solid word. She explains how people get caught, not with big confessions, but with patterns, with consistency, with the same phrase showing up in different places, written by different hands, like a signature. She tells me to request records properly. No emotional pleas, no accusations. "Formal," she says. "Neutral, polite, like you're already in court." I nod again. My body is tired, so tired my bones feel hollow, but my mind is bright, sharp, almost painful with clarity. That night, I open my laptop and draft requests. School records, attendance notes, any written communications regarding Maya and Noah, logs from the custody app. I use the same calm phrasing over and over, like a lullaby I sing to my own rage. "Please provide. Pursuant to. Thank you for your prompt attention." My jaw aches from holding tension, but I keep typing. Then I see it. In the email chain, a section labeled Character Witness Package. I stare at the words until my eyes burn. I click. It's a list, bullet points, names, and there, like it's nothing, like it's a grocery item. Lena, primary witness, present as supportive adult, establish consistent involvement with children. Not girlfriend, witness. My stomach flips hard, heat rushes up my throat. My hands go cold, so she isn't dad's friend, she's part of the plan, a prepped piece, a costume, a staged backdrop. I lean back in my chair, and for a second I see my marriage like a theater. Caleb on stage, smiling, rehearsed. Gail in the wings, cueing lines. Graham drafting the script. And me? Me, in the audience, clapping at the wrong moments, thinking it was real. My throat tightens so fast I cough. The sound is ugly, sudden. I press my palm over my mouth and breathe through my nose until the nausea eases. Then I keep digging. I search my inbox for Gail's name. I search the school portal. I comb through anything that mentions recommendations, concerns, routine, stability. And I find little threads, soft, polite messages from Gail to staff, framed like kindness. "Just a grandmother checking in. Just want to ensure the children's routine is protected. Routine, stability, protected. The same words. My skin prickles. My hands shake again, but this time it's anger, clean and electric. Then I find another attachment in the chain, a template, a literal template for neighbors. Fill in the blank statements. I _______. Have observed Nadia _________. I am concerned about _________. My vision blurs with sudden tears, hot and humiliating. I blink hard, fast, until they clear. They were going to turn my neighborhood into a jury. They were going to hand people a script and let them sign my life away. My phone buzzes, a message from Caleb. Hey, I'm willing to make this easier on everyone. We can settle. You sign off on custody as is, and we won't pursue further action. My hands go numb. Settle. As if my kids are a bill. I stare at the screen until it feels like my eyes are bruising. I type back, slow. Please communicate through the app. I will not discuss agreements outside documented channels. I press send. Seconds later, another message appears. His tone changes like a mask slipping. Don't do this, Nadia. If you keep pushing, I'll go for full custody. My stomach drops, my skin goes cold, my pulse thunders in my ears. There it is. The threat, bare, honest. My fingers hover, then I take a screenshot. I save it. I label it with the date and time. I don't reply. I open the email chain again, searching for the support language, because the legal aid advisor's voice is still in my head. Patterns, originals, trails, and then I find it, a line tucked between other bullets like it's just a logistical note. Delay support to limit housing options. Instability argument strengthens if she remains in lower grade rental. My vision tunnels. The room feels too small. The air feels thin. I put my hand on the table because I suddenly feel like I'm floating, like nothing is real. So it wasn't accidental. It wasn't bureaucracy. It was strategy. My lips part, and a sound tries to come out, half sob, half laugh, but I swallow it down. It burns going back. I stand up and pace the apartment, steps tight and quick, because my body needs motion or it will implode. My bare feet slap the floor. I can feel every vibration through the cheap laminate. I stop in front of the kids' corners. Maya's blanket. Noah's little stuffed dinosaur. My throat closes. I don't get to fall apart. Not yet. I sit back down and start drafting the filing. The words look foreign at first. Motion, reconsideration, bad faith. But they sharpen as I type them. I list facts, dates, evidence, requests, a forensic review of communications and financial disclosures, neutral exchange location, supervised exchanges if needed, consequences for interference. My shoulders ache, my eyes burn from staring at the screen. My jaws clenched so tight my teeth hurt. But the document grows, piece by piece, like a wall I'm building between my children and the people trying to rewrite me. Then my phone buzzes again. Not Caleb. A new thread. His attorney. I stare at the name until my stomach twists into a hard knot. The message loads. We're aware you've been digging. Stop. My breath catches. My skin goes icy. Every hair on my arms lifts. The air in the room feels suddenly too loud, like even the walls heard it. And all I can think is, if they know, then I'm close. I dress like I'm going to disappear on purpose. Plain dark pants, a soft sweater with no logo, no color loud enough to be remembered. Hair pulled back so tight my scalp aches. No earrings, no lipstick, nothing that says, look at me. My hands still shake while I button my coat, but my voice, when I test it in the bathroom mirror, comes out level. Good morning, I whisper to my reflection. My eyes look too big, my pupils too dark, like fear took up residence there. I rinse my mouth with water. The taste of mint doesn't stick. My tongue feels thick like it knows today is heavy. In the car, I keep my palms pressed flat on my thighs at stoplights to stop myself from gripping the wheel until my fingers cramp. The courthouse comes into view, and my stomach tightens instinctively. Like my body remembers cold air and judgment, and the way people look past you as if your pain is paperwork. Inside, the air is sharp with disinfectant and old carpet. The AC is too strong. It prickles my arms through my sweater. I sign in. I sit. I wait. My folder is heavy in my lap, packed with printouts and dates and screenshots. the timeline I built like a spine. I keep my thumbs on the edges of it, feeling the paper, reminding myself it's real. Across the room, Caleb arrives like he's stepping into a meeting. Suit, crisp, groomed. His hair is perfect, like it never met wind. He smiles at the clerk. He nods at a man in the corner like they're old friends. He looks rested. That used to be the thing that made me doubt myself. How could someone so calm be wrong? Now I know calm can be an act. Calm can be a blade. He sees me, and his expression softens into that practiced concern, the face he wears when he wants people to pity him for dealing with me. He walks over slowly, measured. "Nadia," he says, voice low, gentle, like he's soothing a child. My stomach flips with disgust, so quick it feels like nausea. I don't answer. His attorney leans in and murmurs something to him. Caleb's jaw tightens for a fraction of a second, then smooths out again. The bailiff calls our case. My legs feel like they're filled with sand when I stand. Heavy. Slow. But I stand. Inside the courtroom, the air is colder. The benches look the same as last time, the walls, the flags, the judge's seat that feels too high, too far away. Like authority is something you have to look up to until your neck hurts. I sit at my table. My lawyer, legal aide, gives me a small nod. Her eyes are steady. That steadiness feels like a hand on my back. Caleb sits across from me, hands folded. He glances down at his notes like he's prepared for a presentation. Of course he is. When the judge enters, everyone rises. My knees lock. My mouth goes dry. I sit again and press my fingertips together under the table, trying to keep them from trembling. The wood is cool under my palms. The judge starts with the same tone judges always use. Measured, controlled, not cruel, but not kind either. Neutral. Like neutrality is fairness. Caleb's attorney speaks first. Soft voice, concerned words. He paints Caleb as a stable father. A reasonable co-parent navigating a difficult situation with a high-conflict individual. High conflict. The phrase hits my skin like a slap. Caleb looks down at the table as if he's embarrassed by the compliment. Like he's humble. Like he wishes he didn't have to do this. My jaw tightens. I taste metal. Then it's my turn. My lawyer stands, introduces the motion, keeps it clean. Then she looks at me, and I stand. My heart tries to climb into my throat. My hands shake once, a tiny tremor, and then I flatten them on the table. I don't look at Caleb. I look at the judge. "My name is Nadia," I say. My voice comes out steady. Not loud, not pleading. Just there. I lift my folder and set it on the table with a soft thud. The sound makes me flinch, but I keep going. "I'm not here to argue feelings," I say, and my throat burns around the word. "I'm here to show a pattern." Pattern. The judge's eyes sharpen slightly. Not interest, exactly. Attention. I open to the timeline. Pages, dates, columns. I speak in facts, like a witness, like a clerk reading a record. On April 3rd, my exchange time was modified 1 hour before pickup. On April 10th, my exchange location was changed after I arrived. On April 18th, I was denied a scheduled call without reason given. I pause. I breathe in through my nose. The air is too cold, and it stings. I continue. After each change, I received a complaint that I was non-compliant. The word used was the same every time. I slide printouts forward, the custody app logs, the school notes, the screenshots. My hands shake as the pages move, but my voice doesn't. The judge looks down, scanning. I can hear typing in the courtroom, keys clacking softly like rain on a roof. Caleb's face remains calm, still. But his eyes are fixed on the folder like he wants to set it on fire with his mind. My lawyer speaks now, introducing the emails, the chain, the headers. She doesn't dramatize it. She doesn't have to. When she says metadata, Caleb's attorney stiffens. Just a small shift in posture, but I see it. My stomach tightens with a cold kind of satisfaction. The judge asks for the exhibits. My lawyer hands them over. Paper moves from my side to the bench, and for a moment, the whole room holds its breath. The judge reads, slowly. The air feels thick, like you could cut it. My scalp prickles. Sweat gathers at the base of my neck, under my collar, cold and damp. The judge's eyes lift. "Miss Nadia," she says, voice even, "are you stating these communications outline a plan to influence custody proceedings?" "Yes," I say. The word is small, but it lands like a stone. The judge looks back down. Then, without lifting her voice, without drama, she reads a portion aloud, paraphrased, but unmistakable. Make her look unstable, push schedule changes, document reactions, she says. The typing stops. It's not loud, it's not theatrical, but the silence that follows is like a door slamming shut. I feel it in my chest, a sudden pressure release, like something has finally been acknowledged in a room that used to pretend it couldn't see. I glance at Caleb for the first time. His smile is gone, not fading. Gone. His lips are pressed tight and the muscle in his jaw jumps once, a tiny twitch he can't fully control. I want to laugh. The urge is hot and sudden. I don't, because I'm not here to perform. I'm here to finish. The judge questions Caleb's attorney about the third party named in the emails. Graham, the consultant. Caleb's attorney answers carefully, words coded in caution. The judge asks about Lena. Caleb's attorney calls her a supportive adult. Then my lawyer places the character witness package printout on the table like a final card. The judge reads it. Her eyebrows lift, just slightly. Miss Lena is listed here as a primary witness, the judge says, voice crisp. Not as a romantic partner, not as a caregiver, a witness. Lena is in the courtroom. I hadn't even looked at her until now. She sits behind Caleb, posture perfect, hands folded, eyes wide like she's trying to look innocent in a room full of proof. The judge asks her a question. Lena answers, rehearsed, smooth. But then the judge asks another, about dates, about when she first started doing drop-offs. Lena hesitates, a fraction of a second, a blink too long. Her tongue wets her lips. She answers again, but her voice has a different texture now, thinner. The judge holds up the document. This statement is dated before Miss Nadia moved out, she says. Lena's face drains. Caleb's attorney shifts in his seat. Caleb's hands unclasp and clasp again under the table, a tiny movement, like his body is trying to find the old calm and can't. Then Gail's concern comes up. Gail isn't present, of course she isn't, but her messages are, her wording. The recommendations to school staff, framed as kindness. The judge reads one of them. I feel my stomach knot. Shame tries to rise in me because it's humiliating, having my life read aloud by strangers. But the shame doesn't stick, because it isn't about my mess anymore. It's about their plan. The judge looks at Caleb. Mr. Caleb, she says, you've stated repeatedly that your actions were to protect the children. Caleb's face resets. He leans forward slightly, voice low, soothing. Yes, Your Honor, he says. I was just trying to protect the kids. Nadia is unpredictable. I wanted stability. Stability, the word that haunted me. The judge's expression doesn't change, but her tone sharpens. Protection does not require deception, she says. Good faith matters in custody. Coordinating third parties to provoke and document a parent's reaction is not good faith. My heart slams once, hard, like it can't believe what it's hearing. The judge continues, listing orders. Her voice is steady, procedural, but every sentence feels like a weight being lifted off my throat. Immediate modification to exchanges, neutral exchange location, strict communication guidelines, consequences for interference. A review ordered, financial disclosures, attorney communications, and the involvement of third parties. Each word is like air. I sit very still, because if I move, I might shatter. Caleb's attorney tries to respond, tries to steer it back, but the room has shifted. The center of gravity moved. The judge looks at me again. Miss Nadia, she says, continue documenting. Do not engage emotionally through the app. You've done the correct thing by preserving evidence. Correct. My eyes sting. I blink hard. When it's over, I walk out of the courtroom with my legs trembling but my head high enough to breathe. Outside, the sun is too bright. It hurts my eyes, the air is warmer, and I realize I've been cold for months. My first pickup is scheduled for that afternoon. Neutral location, supervised staff present. I arrive early, of course I do. My hands are damp on the steering wheel again, but this time it isn't fear. It's anticipation. The door opens and my kids step out. Maya sees me and her whole face changes, softening, breaking open like a flower that's been held too tight. She runs. She runs. No pause, no looking over her shoulder, no permission needed. Her arms slam into my waist and the air leaves my lungs in a whoosh. I wrap her up so tight I feel her ribs under my hands. Mom, she whispers into my sweater, and my throat closes around a sob. Noah is right behind her. He throws himself at me like a cannonball, and I nearly stumble. His little arms lock around my legs. "Mommy!" he says, voice bright and wrecked at the same time. I sink to my knees right there on the pavement, not caring about dirt, not caring about eyes, and I hold them. I breathe them in. Their hair, their warmth. My hands tremble against their backs. Relief hits me in waves, violent, unstoppable. My whole body shakes. My face goes hot. Tears spill before I can stop them. But I don't wipe them away fast this time. Let them see. Let the world see. That night, after they're asleep in their corners, after I've tucked blankets around them like I'm sealing them into safety, I sit at my kitchen table with my laptop open. The apartment is quiet. The heater clicks. The refrigerator hums. My phone buzzes once, an email notification from a number I don't recognize. Subject: Notice of internal review. My fingers go cold as I open it. It mentions Graham. It mentions an investigation at his workplace, ethics, unauthorized conduct, and then a line that makes my breath catch, sharp and painful. Your submitted documentation may be relevant to this inquiry. I stare at it until the words blur. My mouth goes dry. My heart starts beating hard again. Not fear this time, something else. Because it isn't just about custody anymore. It never was. And now, finally, they're the ones being watched. The apartment is still small. It's still the same stubborn little box that smells faintly like detergent and old heat. The same hand-me-down couch that sags in the middle like it's tired of holding people up. The same table with the wobble I keep meaning to fix. But tonight it feels different. Tonight it feels like mine. I stand in the doorway of Maya's corner and watch her sleep for a second too long. Her face is soft in a way she hasn't been in months. The line between her brows is gone. Her hand is curled around the edge of the blanket, like she's holding on to something steady. I brush her hair back with 2 fingers. Light. Barely there, like I'm afraid the air will wake her. My throat tightens anyway. The scariest part wasn't losing money, or the house, or the way people looked at me like I was a rumor with legs. It was watching my kids start to doubt my love. Watching Maya hesitate before she hugged me, like affection needed permission. Watching Noah ask, in that small voice that shouldn't know fear yet, "Mommy, are you mad at me?" Because someone put that idea in his head and let it grow. That's what nearly broke me. Not the paperwork, not the threats. Them. I moved to Noah's corner. His dinosaur is tucked under his arm, its stitched eyes staring up at me like it's keeping watch. His mouth is open slightly. He's drooling on the pillow. The sight hits me so hard, so normal, so childlike, that my eyes sting instantly. I pull the blanket up to his shoulder. He makes a small sound in his sleep, a hiccuping sigh, and my whole body goes still for a beat. Like I've been trained to expect punishment for existing. Nothing happens. No buzz from the app, no message, no new modification. Just quiet. I exhale slowly, feeling my ribs expand like they're remembering space. He tried to make me perform pain so he could record it. He wanted tears on demand, anger, a raised voice, a moment he could freeze and label. I stopped performing. I learned to let my feelings exist without handing them to him like a gift. I sit at the edge of my own bed, mattress on a simple frame, sheets that don't match, and I stare at my hands in the dim light. They look the same fingers, same small scars, same bitten nail on my thumb. But they don't feel the same. They feel trained. Not in fear, in focus. If there's anything I'd press into someone else's palm, if I could, so they didn't have to learn it the hard way, it would be this. Keep everything in writing, because he said, she said is a trap, and I was tired of being the only one bleeding in it. Save originals, not just screenshots, because screenshots can be dismissed like feelings. Originals have weight, dates, headers, trails. Build timelines, because a single incident can be twisted, but a pattern is a mirror, and mirrors don't care who smiles prettiest. And calm? Calm doesn't mean weak. Calm can be strategy. Calm can be a lock you put on your own throat so nobody else can grab it. I look toward the kids' corners again. The soft rise and fall of their breathing is the only rhythm in the room. It's a sound that should be ordinary, but to me it feels like proof of life. I stand up and walk to the kitchen. I fill a glass with water, and for the first time in a long time, I drink without feeling guilty, without calculating whether I should save the bottle for later, without hearing someone else's voice in my head telling me what I deserve. I deserve this. I deserve quiet. I deserve to tuck my children in and have them believe me when I say, I'm here. I lean against the counter and let my eyes close for a second. And if you've ever been betrayed by someone who looked perfect to everyone else, subscribe for more stories. If you've ever had to prove the truth with receipts, comment it. Only what feels safe. Only what you want to share. And if you believe the truth doesn't need to shout, just show up like this. Because that's what saved me. Not screaming, not begging, just showing up again and again with my hands shaking and my spine straight until the lies got tired of holding their shape.